work data sitting in a secure container. What does this mean? It means that if I want to take even the most basic action, like text John Chen or email Wayne Gretzky, Siri won't be able to find those contacts and won't be able to take that action. And that's because the data that's sitting in that work container is essentially invisible. But with Blackberry Assistant, you're able to interact with both work and personal data. In fact, Blackberry Assistant is so deeply integrated with productivity apps like Hub, Calendar, and Contacts, you're able to complete more sophisticated tasks that you just can't do on Siri and Google Now. Come on up to the Assistant booth upstairs and we'll show you. Second, mobile pros aren't always in a position where they can speak to a virtual assistant. Maybe they're in a meeting, or they're on a noisy train, or in a busy restaurant, or perhaps they just want to be more discreet. Blackberry Assistant has been built to be more versatile. There are 3 ways to interact with it, making it more ideal in more situations. You can speak to it, and it'll respond in kind. But you can also type in commands, to which Blackberry Assistant will respond with only information on screen. And when you're in the car behind the wheel, Blackberry Assistant knows that you're connected to Bluetooth and that you can't look at your device. And so it will interact with you completely hands and eyes free. Now, not only does Blackberry Assistant serve as a way to interact with your work content and data, but it also provides you with a universal search across your entire smartphone. So by simply inputting a name, for example, either by voice or by using the keyboard, you can get back a variety of results connected to that name. All the emails from that person, all the messages that person's mentioned in, BBMs from that person, contacts related to that person, even calendar events that you have with that person, even if they haven't set them up. It's a really comprehensive search, and it's going to make it really easy to find the things you're looking for. So let's put Blackberry Assistant to work and show you what it can do. So I'm going to pull up Blackberry Assistant here from the home screen by touching on the Assistant icon. The first thing you'll see is that I have a couple of different options. I'm able to touch on the microphone and speak to give it a command, or I can choose from one of the instant actions that correspond to a recent action that I've taken in the Blackberry Assistant app. So the first thing I want to show you is how Blackberry Assistant is deeply plugged in to your work content. And I'm going to do that by asking it, what does my day look like tomorrow? Let's see what happens. What does my day look like tomorrow? Immediately, Assistant
You have
responds.
16 events tomorrow.
So you saw immediately Assistant responds, and it gives me a visual cue with a little green calendar, recognizing that it's understood my query as a calendar-related event. And it's pulled up my calendar. Notice here how I have both items in purple and in green. The things that you see in purple are on my personal calendar, my Gmail calendar, right? The things in green, these are sitting on my work calendar behind the corporate firewall. So these are at my @blackberry.com email address. So I'm able to get a fully rounded view of my day with Assistant. Now, let's do another comparison. I'm going to go over here and pull up my calendar for tomorrow on my iPhone. And this is the calendar in my secure workspace, right? An example of a container app. And this could be, we're going to demo this here on Secure Workspace because it's the best, but this could be any container app, right? And what I want to show you is that even though I have all the same calendar appointments as I do on my BlackBerry, there's a problem with Siri. What does my day look like tomorrow?
Okay, I found 6 events for tomorrow.
6 events versus 16 events, right? A great illustration of the fact that Siri can't see my work data sitting inside a secure container, right? It really impedes the ability for professionals to make use of a virtual assistant like this. But what about those times when I can't speak to my assistant? Maybe I'm in a meeting, or I'm in a restaurant, or I just need to do something quickly and don't have the luxury of speaking to it. Well, with Blackberry Assistant, I'm able to type into it as well. So, when I meet with John, he expects that I take action right away, right? And when he says book a follow-up meeting with me, I need to have that on his calendar in like the next 2 minutes. So with Blackberry Assistant, I can just pick it up and start typing. Book a catch-up with John tomorrow at noon at John's office. So watch how Assistant recognizes this as a calendar-related event. And by hitting OK, it's going to populate the calendar invite with everything that I need. The subject, the location, even the contacts sitting in my work contacts list behind my corporate firewall. It's put it in my calendar, and when I hit save, it's going to send John this meeting invite using my corporate email, putting it on both of our corporate calendars. Don't worry, John, it's not going to go to you. So notice how BlackBerry Assistant didn't talk to me this time? It understood that by interacting with it with text, I didn't want it to talk back to me. It was a more discreet interaction. Now, while BlackBerry Assistant is optimized for work, it can do a lot of other things too. Let me show you one of my favorites. What I can do is actually start a search for the web and have it go out to some of my favorite websites, like Amazon and SoundCloud. So I'm going to ask it to find a Wayne Gretzky autograph for me. Search Amazon for Wayne Gretzky autographs.
Searching Amazon for Wayne Gretzky autograph.
Now watch what happens. It's going to open up my browser and go right into Amazon, pulling up the top results for Wayne Gretzky autographs, taking me right to the information I need. Other virtual assistants would do just a generic web search for the great one. Now there's a lot more that BlackBerry Assistant can do. All you have to do is ask it. But these are just a few of the ways that Assistant can help a busy professional stay organized and in control. Now, another feature of 10.3 is something that we call Instant Actions in BlackBerry Hub. Now, if you recall, the BlackBerry Hub brings together all of your communications in one spot. Your work and personal email, your social networks, your BBM messages, text messages, and everything else. The value the Hub provides to a mobile professional is that they don't have to spend time checking each of these apps individually in order to have a full picture of their communications and quickly take action. Now, in 10.3, we're adding instant actions to the BlackBerry Hub to make it easier to quickly triage your messages directly from the list view. Let me show you what I mean. So I'm going to go back into the Hub here, and right away you see that I have a lot of stuff going on. I've got BBMs, I've got unread messages, I can scroll through the Hub using my touch-enabled keyboard. But what about those times when maybe I get off a plane, right? And I've got a surge of emails, and I need to just quickly triage my mailbox and find those things that are most important. What I'm able to do is touch up in the right-hand corner, see where that check mark is next to the 3 lines, and enable instant actions. What you see appear are the most common actions for each mode of communication. And this allows me to really quickly take action on all of this content. So for example, I can quickly delete this message from Donnie. I can delete this message from Lizette. Don't need coffee with Sean. I can take this message from Sarah and touch here on the envelope to mark it as unread so I can come back to it later. I'm able to go down, I can find a calendar invite and accept this right from the Hub list view so that I don't actually have to even go into the calendar, right? So I'm right in the list view. I can even respond to BBM messages here in the Hub without having to do anything else. So I can say, sounds good. And off it goes. So that's instant actions in the Hub, one of the many productivity-focused features that we've built into 10.3 to help mobile professionals be more successful, stay on top of things, and take action. Next, let's talk about the phone call experience. The number one feature that mobile pros still use their smartphone for is phone calls. And yet, with all the advancements that we've seen in smartphone technology, there have really been few improvements made to address the audio quality issues that professionals identify as pain points, until now. BlackBerry Passport will deliver an amazing audio experience thanks to a number of new innovations in audio technology. To start with, we've built the BlackBerry Passport with an incredible speakerphone. Not only is it louder than the speakerphones you'll find on other devices, but it's clearer and sharper too. The BlackBerry Passport offers the loudest speakerphone compared to both the HTC One and the Samsung Galaxy S5. In fact, BlackBerry Passport's speaker is 18% louder than the HTC One and an incredible 350% louder than the Galaxy S5. But volume doesn't come at the expense of clarity. Not only is the BlackBerry Passport speakerphone louder than the competition, it also offers superior frequency response. What this means is that you get more output across the entire spectrum of sound. More lows, more mids, more crisp highs. So more than ever before, your conference calls will sound like you're in the same room with the other person. With a louder, clearer speakerphone, we believe BlackBerry Passport is a great alternative to your desk phone or your Polycom. But we didn't stop there. When you're holding the Passport up to your ear, it will adapt the volume of your calls based on the environmental conditions that you're in. What this means is that if Passport can sense that I'm in a loud environment, it will actually boost the volume of my call to provide me with a clearer call. It also listens to the loudness of the other person that I'm talking to. So if I'm talking to Tim, and Tim is a little bit of a quiet talker, not that you were Tim, it will boost the volume of Tim's voice so that I can get a louder, clearer call with Tim. If we stopped there, we'd be delivering the best call quality experience, but we didn't. We've also introduced a new capability that will give you a consistently louder call even if you're not holding the phone flush against your face. Passport uses a carefully placed microphone right inside the earpiece to sense the position of the phone against your face and the seal against your ear, and then it dynamically adjusts both the call volume and tone of the call to give you the right sound levels. This effect can be measured by looking at the size of the sound sweet spot against the ear. What we've seen through our acoustics testing is that this technology, this natural sound technology, increases the size of the sound sweet spot by up to 70%. So at last, mobile professionals will get a great call experience on the go thanks to natural sound technology and the BlackBerry Passport. Now, one final thing on 10.3. We've really made it easy for mobile pros to hit the ground running with Passport by allowing them to bring their contacts, their music, their photos, and other important data from their old device, be it an iPhone, Android, or BlackBerry 10 smartphone, over to their new Passport. We've done this with the help of the Device Switch app. You'll find it in BlackBerry World and in the other application storefronts. With the Device Switch app on your old phone, you can just wirelessly move all the data and content over to your new phone. It's as simple as that. You don't have to worry about any cables, plugging in, syncing. Just download the app on both phones, connect to Wi-Fi, and off you go. Now, before we move on and talk about apps, let's just talk a few minutes about specs, right? Because I know you're all wondering. We'll start with battery life, because we know that battery life is one of the top purchase drivers for mobile professionals today. They need and expect a tool that will power their whole day. They can't spend time searching for a quick charge at a coffee shop or chained to an outlet at an airport. That's why we've developed the BlackBerry Passport with the largest battery among the top-selling smartphones and phablets today. At 3,450 milliamp hours, the BlackBerry Passport provides an incredible 30 hours of battery life. Now we test our battery life using something we call an active user profile. So it's somebody who's a power communicator, using lots of email, multimedia, phone calls. They do lots of browsing and more. So we look at a mixed profile. And on top of building an incredibly large battery into this phone, we're also introducing some new features to help professionals get the most power out of this large battery. For example, by turning the Passport onto its face on a flat surface, you put it into standby mode, turning off the display and saving power. This helps to extend the battery life when the device isn't in use. And when you pick it up and look at it, the screen is illuminated once again and you're back to where you left off. Now, everything we've talked about so far, the large square touch display, the touch-enabled keyboard, BlackBerry Assistant, amazing call quality, and a huge battery, is all backed up with the right specs to deliver an incredible end-user experience. To start, we've added an entirely new camera module to the BlackBerry Passport, complete with a 13-megapixel OIS, or optical image stabilization sensor. This camera captures absolutely stunning images and video. Just take a look at a few of the shots that